Hi, and welcome to the Hobby Forge. My name is Valdemar. Today we'll be looking at how to convert an Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum Sergeant with a boltgun. Now, if you want to skip right ahead to the conversion part of the video, I'll put a timestamp down in the video for you to skip to. But if you're still here, let's briefly talk about why you might want to go for this loadout for your sergeant. In 9th edition, when you buy a squad of shock troopers, the standard loadout for them is to just have las guns. Usually what you see models wise is a sergeant with a las pistol and chainsword. That's because that's what the kit allows you to do, other than just the las gun option. But rule wise, you can give him a bolt gun, and the bolt gun packs a strength value of 1 higher than the las guns and with the same range, so you can make one of your guys hit just a little harder. And usually you don't really want your standard guardsmen to get into close combat, so giving them a chainsword and some sort of pistol which has a poor range is a bit like planning for failure, you could argue. But let's not get too deeply into the rules benefits and just get on with the video. Now, as for what you'll need, the two most important bits are a bolt gun and a flamer from the Canadian Shock Trooper set. The good thing about the flamer is that it has a sling, I think it's called a sling at least, that goes over the pauldron and around the shoulder. This gives the impression that the bolt gun that we're gonna attach to it is a heavy gun to carry around, and therefore extra support is needed for this normal human to carry it around. This is after all not a biologically modified super soldier like a space marine, just a regular guy. I got the bolt gun from a space marine tactical squad set. There are possibly other bolt guns from other sets you could use, but the good thing about this is that it doesn't have the left hand attached to the gun below. This allows us to place the left hand wherever we want it, without having to cut away the left hand and make it look any decent. 1/3 bit that's not quite as important is the left supporting arm that usually connects with the flamer. Now when going for this bit, make sure you get the flame support hand and not the grenade launcher support hand from the Canadian Shock Trooper set. They look very similar, and I actually got the wrong one out for this video and during recording found out it was the wrong one. You could also give your sergeant something else, like a hand holding binoculars or something. But I went for the flamer support hand, as the bolt gun is a heavy gun to carry around, so it makes sense he's using both hands on it at most times. As for the rest, all you'll need is a set of legs, a torso and a head that you like from the Canadian Shock Trooper set or possibly the Command Squad set. You'll notice I've magnetized the legs and the torso. I'll explain why I did that later in the video. Let's start with cutting the flamer into the shape we wanted. You'll notice that on the flamer I'm using, I've already cut off the barrel, the tube and the muzzle earlier for another project. But it is indeed a flamer. The first cut you want to make is to separate the sling from the top of the flamer. Be careful as to not break or bend the sling too much. Next step is cutting the front part of the gun away from the rest. Don't throw it out, keep it for a future conversion you might want to do. The cut will be right behind the sort of half-tube shape running vertically down the casing of the flamer. After that, you want to cut off the Promethean supply tube down on the bottom of the flamer, and while we're at it, cut off the tube where it meets the pouch hanging below his arm. To cut away the tube where it meets the gun, just let your knife align with the underside of the flamer and carefully cut it away. It's better to cut just a bit too little than too much. So take it step by step if you are unsure about any of the cuts. Then, cut off the small tube thing sticking out to the right of the handle, just above where the tube connected earlier. Cut down from above, letting your knife follow the flat of the flamer's casing. Second last thing is to cut off the stock at the back end of the flamer that extends towards his armpit. Sadly, I did not get any good footage of me doing this, but just take it piece by piece rather than go too crazy with this one. Last thing is to clean the cuts, make them straight and so on. Use a file and or a knife to do this. Just be careful not to cut yourself. Now we've come to the trusty bolt gun. The steps we need to take here are few and simple. First off, cut off his hand holding the grip of the gun. Do it with two separate cuts, one coming from below, close to the magazine, and the other from behind, reaching the same point where the first cut ended. This should pretty quickly and easily remove the hand. Next step, final cut, is to take off the back end of the gun. Make the cut right here, just before where the box shape on the top starts sloping down. Once you've done that, do as before, file the cuts clean and straight. What's left to do now is to glue our two parts together. I am using this Tamiya extra thin cement. Simply let the bolt gun extend out from what's left of the flamer's casing. It should look like this more or less. You should also glue the end of the sling to the top of the bolt gun. Once this is dry, glue the gun arm to the torso of your choice. Once this has dried a bit, you can then glue the support arm to the left shoulder of the torso and glue the handle in the hand where it contacts the bolt gun's casing. It should all come together looking something like this. I promised to tell you why I magnetized his torso. When you get a set of Cadian Command Squad, you get 2 more torsos than you need for the set. You only have 5 legs in the set, but 7 torsos. And when it comes to extra arms and heads, well, all sets of infantry includes extra arms and heads, I think. If you're an Imperial Guard player, you might have lots of spare arms and some torsos lying around. If you magnetize some of your troopers' legs and torsos, you have the opportunity to switch around between different loadouts. That can be special weapons for a squad or maybe the sergeant, as in this case. It's a handy little trick. There's of course also the option to magnetize the arms onto the torsos instead, and you can definitely do that. But sometimes, depending on the strength and size of your magnets, the arms slide a lot down or fall off. Good thing about this way is that gravity more or less pushes the torso down anyway, so the bond is strong. And with that we are done. Now, before the end, I'd like to share some thoughts for your consideration when converting a sergeant with a boltgun. Basically, how do you make him distinguishable? Despite the gun being different from the last guns that all the other guys carry, he has a pretty similar stance as they do. He's holding a firearm with both hands, which can make him blend in with the others in the heat of battle. What I did was to give him the regular sergeant's head without a helmet and paint one of his pauldrons greyish blue. You could make his base somewhat special. Maybe he's standing on a rock or something else. In the assembling step, you could perhaps add some extra equipment that the other guardsmen don't have, like a backpack. And of course, there's the option to do something distinctive with the paint job that separates him from the others. All there is to do now is to say goodbye. Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.